What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Critical Overload here. We're going to be talking about a few different horror topics in this video here today. We'll be talking about Scream 7, Final Destination 6. We'll be talking about I Know What You Did Last Summer. We'll be talking about Megan 2.0 and Candyman. So starting off here with Scream 7, Jasmin Brown apparently let it be known over the weekend at this Comic-Con event in Brazil, I think, that she will not be back for Scream 7, allegedly. Now, I'm saying allegedly because Cinepop is who shared this over the weekend, but I haven't seen much clarity to it. Without Tara and Sam, Mindy and Chad are kind of not necessary. They're like fish out of water, you could say. Not that you can't do stories with some and not others, but based on how close everyone was in 6, it would be weird to the narrative to just have a few people this time around and not the others, if that makes sense. It's just all about how they were presented in Scream 6, and then all of a sudden now in 7 you guys are apart and the only person who's here is Mindy and Chad. They could have made it work. I'm just saying it still would have been a bit bizarre. So many already also took issue with the Mindy character feeling forced. I can understand that feeling to an extent. However, I thought that Jasmin as a talent was just amazing to have part of the franchise. She's an amazing actress from what I've seen her in when it comes to Yellow Jackets and all the other projects I've seen of her. I can admit, though, that while I was rewatching 5 and 6, the movie rule scenes between the two, 6 undoubtedly is the most forced. The way it feels like they were trying to go through a checklist of scenes to have in a Scream movie, and then that's the one that felt like the most forced. Compared to what they gave us in Scream 5, it just wasn't as natural. The way she assembled them all and sat them down, it's something about it. It didn't sit right with me upon a rewatch. But Jasmin, I think, as far as her delivery, her performance as Mindy, still was phenomenal. It's just unfortunate that what happened has transpired into all this mess, and we're not going to get the core 4. Some of you, again, don't care. You're excited because Sidney Prescott is going to be back. She'll be back in a little over a year. You guys are excited, and I'm sure Scream 7 will still make its budget back. It'll be profitable. Probably not as profitable as 6, but I don't think it's going to flop. I don't see a Scream movie flopping at this stage. Not if they're still making it for relatively cheap, as I've heard they are. Now, let's talk about Final Destination Bloodlines. So, Final Destination Bloodlines finally has a release date. It's going to arrive in theaters on May 16, 2025. Series creator Jeffrey Reddick shared the news to also comment on the movie being great and being a wonderful tribute to the late Tony Todd. Final Destination 6 has had multiple test screenings. I've talked about this countless times with you guys, as many of you know. The reactions I've shared have been all over the place, but no one has said it's flat out trash over and over again, besides that one person I told you about who was very disappointed in the movie. And to answer everyone's questions about what I've been seeing over on X over the weekend, some stuff true, others not true, that's all I'll say. But Final Destination 6 is not set between 1 and 3. It is not set between 1 and 3. This is a sequel to the first 5 movies. It's a culmination of everything that's happened in those first 5 movies in a very dramatic, over-the-top way. No secret cameos are going to be taking place in this film as far as I know, but that doesn't mean that something isn't being saved for a final edit. So maybe you will see a certain person back on screen. I just know that from what I've heard, that hasn't happened yet. But it's always possible that they're trying to protect that surprise and they're just saving it for the theatrical release. I will also point this out. I may have shared this in the past, but I did want to share this detail with you guys. I do know William Bloodworth also has a nickname that will be revealed during the upcoming film. For everyone looking forward to one of Tony Todd's final performances, just something for you to chew on a bit. He's going to have a nickname that's revealed by one of the new characters we meet who have a connection with William. And they've known him since he was a little boy. If you've been watching my Final Destination videos, you know exactly who I'm talking about. But he will have a new nickname of sorts. Probably, actually, I think it's part of his full name. You're going to get a new full name for the character. But let's talk about I Know What You Did Last Summer really quick. Jennifer Love Hewitt she's starting to become a broken record to me. A lovely broken record, but still a broken record nonetheless. She shared these comments with Variety to discuss the holdup about her I Know What You Did Last Summer return. She said, but I think that a big part of the reason we've taken a minute is I don't want to just be like, oh, there's the ghost of 90s past, or for 5 seconds in the movie. I want Julie to come back and be there for a reason, play a real part, and show the audience who she's become 27 years later. I think the scariest thing about the movie will probably be people seeing me at 45. I don't know what she's talking about there. She looks lovely. She really does. Talking about how the last time we saw her, she was 21. She looks pretty either way. She looked pretty then, she looks pretty now. They might not even need to do anything else in the film, she goes on to say. Just do a real close-up with no filter, and there you go. But I'm really excited and really honored, and just fingers crossed that everything falls into place. Many of you have been pointing this out. I am on board with this 100%. How are you supposed to feel important, and how are you supposed to convince us that you're important to the story when they are already shooting? Freddie Prinze Jr. has made it clear, or at least implied through multiple posts on his Instagram stories, that he has wrapped, and yet you're still sitting here saying you haven't signed and you're trying to work things out when it comes to the schedule and Julie's overall story, contributions to the narrative. It makes me believe that when she was approached and whatever it was that they offered to her story-wise for Julie, she wasn't feeling it. Now, that's not to say that, of course, if we read the script that we would be in the same boat as her, but it also seems like they're shooting the movie in order. Notice how Julie apparently isn't needed for them filming right now. It's almost as though they're shooting the movie in order. Or at least what we've been told about how significant she is doesn't seem like that's really the case. She might be significant because of a certain angle they want to pull off. I can give you that. But it seems like that angle might be something you can easily write out of the story, and the story will still work, and all you needed was Ray and Julie's daughter, who seems to be played by Sarah Pidgeon. But we'll just have to wait and see. Hopefully she'll be signed on sooner rather than later, because she's saying she cannot wait to make this announcement, and they're so close. But I'm not buying that Julie is going to be a significant part of this story until I see the movie. They're already shooting. You're not signed. Something about it just doesn't feel right to me and a lot of other fans. And I do have my theories as to why Julie probably got the short end of the stick, but I'm not going to get into that. We do have a rumored description of Amelia, thanks to My Time to Shine, who we know Amelia is the newcomer doll that's supposed to be appearing in Megan 2. According to My Time to Shine, the doll is a humanoid robot with a sleek cyberpunk-inspired aesthetic. She has a youthful and polished appearance, featuring a sharp blonde bob haircut, accented with pink streaks. Her eyes are striking and lifelike, framed by a neon visor in shades of blue and pink, and emphasizing her futuristic design. Vibrant pink armored suit with glowing accents. Now, it's the vibrant pink armored suit that got me, because apparently, according to My Time to Shine, they also were able to uncover that this doll is coming to us from the military. It has some sort of military connection. I don't know how true that is. Again, this is coming from My Time to Shine, who has been right about things in the past. I do think that this is going to be a fun angle they go with. It does remind me a lot of T2. Amelia, again, is the rumored newcomer that Megan is supposed to be facing off with, defending the human race from this, as was recently uncovered thanks to a description I brought up from the official Blumhouse Discord server, seemingly confirming my discussions about a new doll being introduced that I first put out back in January of this year. So I can't wait to see what comes of this, and I trust that we'll get our first teaser, first official look at Amelia in January, right around the release of Wolfman. The last thing we're going to talk about here is going to be Candyman. Now, we have a new Candyman movie reportedly in development, according to Daniel RPK, who has been right about a lot of things in the past, more recently with his reports on the Scream casting that's been coming out, and the time jump that we know is seemingly being confirmed as well. So, this new Candyman project, while that's exciting, I do know that there's people out there who are not a fan of what Nia DaCosta did with her Spiritual Legacy sequel that came out a few years ago. I didn't mind it. My only critique of the movie primarily was that, and still is off of my rewatches, if I'm comparing it to that first movie, the subtlety is just not hitting the same. It's not very subtle. I would appreciate us not having to be reminded of certain things through dialogue when it's being made very apparent through what's on my screen. I feel like the first movie embraces that so well. You didn't need to keep telling me Helen doesn't belong here. She looks weird. She's a white woman in the hood. You didn't need to keep telling me that. It was very obvious that she was a fish out of water. Whereas with Nia DaCosta's still amazingly directed and gorgeously shot spiritual sequel, the messaging is a little bit more forceful, and that's a bit off-putting given the current climate of what people feel about Hollywood and how they are tired of certain messages and tired of being told that they need to be a certain way or else they're this and they're that. So I would hope that whatever comes of this new reported Candyman project, if it's true, it can live up to the ending that was set up in Nia DaCosta's spiritual sequel, assuming it's a sequel to that film, because the direction she took it in which it's basically different iterations of what people envision as Candyman through the lens of this injustice against minorities, black people to be more specific. I would like to see that expanded upon even further. I thought she took that in a very unique direction, expanded upon the lore in all the right ways, building up to the final appearance of Tony Todd back in the characters or back in the role as the iconic Candyman. So hopefully what comes of this is something of quality. Let me know what you guys think about this down in the comment section below. If you haven't already, of course, make sure you subscribe, turn on post notifications. You never miss a video. In the description, I have links to my social media accounts. I am on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can message me there to let me know any movies, news, or reviews you'd like me to cover in the future. And with all that in mind, guys, I will see you in the next video.